Look, there's no doubting 7.62 by 39 is a staple and a favorite in Escape from Tarkov. It also received some crazy buffs recently, so today we're going to be talking about not just the platform, but how the ammo stacks up, as well as that new round that got added, MAI AP, and how they actually compare up against some of the best armors and helmets in Tarkov. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the ammos and armors, so make sure you guys stick around and enjoy. All of these videos are actually filmed live on my Twitch. The link for that will be featured down in the description below if you want to come by, watch me creating these live, or have any questions about today's video. We are going to be testing PS, BP, and MAI AP, as I believe these are the best ammos for the AK. As for T45, we won't be testing it here today, as it performs too similarly to PS, so you can really just make your own deductions. And we're not going to be testing US here today for this reason alone, and that is the fact that US moves at 300 meters per second and is a subsonic round. This means that the bullet drop on this round is absolutely crazy, so I wouldn't recommend using this round outside of factory, but if you do have low level AKs with a lot of recoil, I would recommend maybe possibly using it in factory to allow you to control that spray, but that has to be the only situation where I'd recommend using this round, simply because it doesn't make your gun quieter and that bullet drop is too insane. As for armor testing, let's jump straight into PS, the good stuff, with 32 pen and 57 damage. Now, jumping straight into Karasa, we can immediately realize why 7.62 would definitely be a good recommendation as an early round. And that is simply because when you look at what you're given in the early game, especially when you are starting out in this game, you don't have a lot of good options. And at level 1 traders or level 1 prapor, you can buy PS. And PS can cut the cake when needed to, as well as the fact that if it's automatic, hitting 6 shots on someone's thorax isn't always unrealistic. However, the problems with PS start to really stack up when you run against some really thick boys. And if you are versing some of those better level 5 armors, or may I say level 6, the results aren't so good. So really, you have to make a conscious decision when running this ammo about where the wipe is going and what armors are you going to be running into when you are in these raids. You know, you may consider saving a little bit of money with PS, but if you do run into these level 6 armors, you are in for a bad time. And that's why I've got to go ahead and say, sometimes top loading a little bit of BP may go a long way. As for T45, it is a tracer and performs similarly here. I just wanted to point that out. The only real difference is PS has 2 more pen, which give you a tiny bit more consistency with the level 4, giving us a higher chance at 6 shots instead of 7. Now, BP is where things get really juicy, with 47 pen and 58 damage. Immediately, we see the difference here with Trooper, and then jumping straight into a Corund, a common level 5 armor, we can really see that 47 pen cutting through this armor with BP. Now, interesting enough, 47 pen isn't a guaranteed pen, especially on level 5 armor. So sometimes you'll notice some armors taking 2, and then sometimes taking 3, but we never had anything more than that. But to me, that is perfectly enough, especially with the fire rate of the AKs. And if you need a faster fire rate, then honestly go use another gun, because 7.62 is perfectly balanced here, as well as the fact that around 5 to 6 shots on every level 6 in the game is pretty manageable. And a lot of the time when I verse people with this sort of gear, they go down very quickly anyway. Now, if we look at the difference in the armors, that 47 pen becomes apparent that we are punching through with blunt damage, because all of the level 6 armors here today are completely zeroed except for the Zabralo. Now, this is really interesting to me because when we look at PS and BP, the comparison, it's no competition. BP cuts straight through way more consistently, and the difference in level 5 is just absolutely freaking insane. As well as the fact that even level 6 doesn't seem like too much for BP. But I guess that leaves a question in your mind, what about MAI AP with basically inverse stats? 58 pen versus 46 damage. Sometimes with these AP rounds, you lose a lot of flesh damage when you gain that pen. But because of the fact that this thing still has 46 flesh, it can still 2-hit some of the armors in the game. When we run up against level 6, you're going to notice that all of them come down in a very consistent amount of shots. And yes, that counts for the different colored slicks. They don't make a difference. And I know you guys are arguing out there that sometimes, you know, I bet you that tan slick would stop a little bit more rounds simply because Tan Man is OP. But honestly, guys, when we look at the difference between the two, you have to justify the price point by asking yourself the question, are you going to be versing level 5 or 6 armor every raid? Then maybe MAI AP is the option. Maybe just top loading a couple or using something like this in an SKS would definitely be worth your time, especially when every shot counts and you're not dumping a full mag. As for helmet and visor testing, immediately looking at PS, you are going to be noticing it cuts straight through one of those common helmets, the SSH, you know, and bringing down someone with a level 4 helmet. Yeah, you just hope you don't run up into level 4. And that inconsistency really travels across to the level 4 helmets with PS and is part of the reason that I would recommend maybe just top loading a couple BP, especially if you are running an SKS. Now, obviously, you're not going to be running into a Vulcan every single raid that you play this game. So this is really just a really out there experience. But I just wanted to point out that if you look at something like this and then immediately going towards BP, we can instantly see where the money is. 2-tapping a fast MT plus a slap, and then you can see why you pay for that. One shot through a ULAC, which is a very common and popular helmet, as well as the fact that it brought down an Alton in 2 hits. Now this is a Bastion with a Halo plate on top of it. Bringing it down in 3 is still pretty damn crazy. As for visors, you go straight through level 4, and you really don't struggle with things like the Alton, as well as the fact we got super lucky here on the wristy, which shows us that sometimes you can actually get through in 1 hit, which is absolutely freaking insane. Now, level 6 doesn't struggle that hard either because of that high flesh damage, as well as the fact that pen stacks up quite quickly. But MAI is expensive as hell. But if you look at something like a Keck MT plus a slap, it doesn't matter. A fast MT plus a slap, it doesn't matter. And if you verse something like a Vulcan or a Bastion with a Halo, I mean, just look for yourself. Unless you get a ricochet, you're gonna be dead. And that is really what you're paying for. As well as the fact that I have to reiterate, if you are using an SKS, sometimes top loading MAI AP is definitely worth the investment. It goes straight through the Alton every single time guaranteed, the wristy included, with a very high chance to go through the masker visor in 1 hit as well. So what do you guys think about the new ammos? Do you think this was necessary for the meta? Have you tried out this round yet? Let me know your opinions on this round in the comments down below. I really appreciate you guys watching these videos to the very end. If you enjoyed this type of video and would like to see a certain type of ammo next, let me know what that ammo is in the comments down below, or you can actually message me on Discord. The link for that will be featured down below, where I will consider your opinions here. We do polls in the Discord, so if you really want to have a say in future videos, that's the best place to do it. Thank you so much for watching to the very end, and as always, we'll see you on the next one.